Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome to the final race of the first season here at Flux Motorsport. Of course, it is our finale in the GT3 Championship. All to play for in this one. And we're bringing it to you live from the Redbull ring in Austria. It's looking to be a pretty hot one, this. And one of the shortest tracks of the season here in Spielberg, Austria. Just 2.683 miles for these drivers to try and pit their wits as we begin to track Bruce Law around the circuit. He's the one with a mountain to climb. Currently in favour of Barend at the moment, aka St. Bath. He's currently leading the championship with Fast AF Gamer right behind him in the championship leaderboards. So, without further ado, let's have a little run through of the standings. Just bringing them up onto my screen now. So, as mentioned, St. Bath currently top of the championship standings on 208 points, with Fast AF Gamer right behind him on 201. Bruce Law with a lot to play for on 193 points, so he requires both Barend and Fast AF Gamer to finish outside of the top 4, I think it may be. Then 1 to 13, unable to join us tonight, but he finds himself in 4th position on the standings on 172 points. And then Al Axon, aka All U82, in 5th place in the standings. Good season from him, but he's quite a way back from Wanta, sat in 5th position on 127 points. Luke 42, he's had an up and down sort of season in his Porsche. He finds himself in 6th place, also nursing a broken leg at the moment, so best wishes to him. Hope he gets a speedy recovery. Currently racing on a control pad, so not much potential to cause any further injury to himself. But as mentioned, he's 6th in the championship on 98 points. Then Luna Zodiac, our Aussie driver, in 7th position on 93, so he may be able to get some bragging rights ahead of Luke with a good finish tonight. Immortalis is in 8th place on 90 points, so he's also going to be fighting for that top of the second pack, as it were, fighting for 6th place. Then Lecky 2000 in 9th place on 72 points. He's going to struggle to try and claim that 6th. It will take some finishes, some poor finishes from the drivers above him. Alright Turkish in 10th place on 60 points, along with Dr. Potford. And then Sub-Zero in 11th place on 37, with Redwood in 12th on 20 points, and then Old Smoky in 13th place on 14th. We have got Tibby joining us today, and Giacomo as well, 2 ringers brought in as the reserves. We'll keep an eye out on those. And it looks as though we're just about to get qualifying underway now with Bruce Law, about to put his first lap down. It's a 1 minute 30.04, and I have got my telemetry working today, so we will keep an eye out on the sectors. So far though, St. Bath has gone a little bit quicker than Bruce Law in his first sector, only by around about 400ths though, and he puts a lap in. Looks as though Sector 2 and Sector 3 just let him down a little bit. Bruce Law currently in that provisional pole position. St. Bath just 0.6 down at the moment. Luna Zodiac's come in with quite a good lap actually, and looks as though the rest of the guys are warming them up. Let's have a look at Immortalis in the warm-up. It seemed as though he was struggling with the setup of his Ferrari, not managing to hook it up quite as he expected. And we see him there just running ever so slightly wide. I think he is out on his outlap at the moment, so we can see Fast AF Gamer there just coming through on the inside. And it looks as though we've got a white Ferrari in the background. Not too sure who that is, so it could well be one of our ringers. Let's have a little look over here. Dr. Potford in his yellow Ferrari. Let's try and find who it may be. It is Tibby, actually. Dutch driver, really, really fast in the GT1s. And I'm expecting that he'll be able to convert that as well into the GT3s. Keep an eye out on him as the race progresses. He's going to want to make a name for himself in these cars, I'm sure of it. Relative newcomer to the community, but definitely got off on a good start. As we continue to look at the timing boards, looks as though St. Bath's had a bit of a stinker this time around. He's got red in Sector 1, red in Sector 2. Keeping an eye on the greens though. Luna Zodiac making more improvements. He's now just 8.5 tenths away from Bruce Law. So Luna Zodiac really has come into his own in these GT3 cars. Let's keep an eye out on him and his distinguished 12C representing the McLaren. He's stuck with it all season long as well. Really struggled in the first few races, and then much like his Formula Renault career, as the season's progressed, he's just gone from strength to strength, and he's starting to really hook them up. So Fast AF Gamers now popped up into that front row as well. Currently second place, just shy of 7 tenths slower than Bruce Law, but that first lap from Bruce Law is looking like an absolute blinder. In fact, looking at his timings now, he's still not able to make any improvements upon that. And that was his first lap out the gates. As we see potentially a little bit of commentator's curse on Luna Zodiac. Not too sure where he is. He's hiding behind an ambulance at the moment. We can see Bruce Law just making his way through. Let's continue to track him around. So still waiting on a few drivers to set a lap. Immortalis yet to set one with TTV, which is actually Giacomo. Sub-Zero yet to set one, along with Tibby and Luke. And Casey Redwood as well, still remaining inside the pits. Let's have a look. TTV looks as though he's picked the same livery as Tibby, so that one's going to be pretty hard to distinguish. I'll have to try and keep an eye out on it. Let's have a look at his number as he passes through. Number 55, I think it was, as he returns to the pit. So I'm not happy with those setups yet. Has had very little time to prepare for this one. Let's go over to our Russian driver, have a look at Sub-Zero and his Honda NSX. He's just about to come around. Looks as though he's set red sectors in 1 and 2. I think it's actually an invalid lap, so this one isn't going to count. He's got 12 minutes and 55 seconds though to try and make some improvement. As we see someone there just struggling to get out the pits in the background. Not a good time to be a cameraman inside the pits, and that's Dr. Potford currently trailing the back of Sub-Zero. Looks as though he's able to carry much more speed in that Ferrari than the NSX. A little bit deeper into that one though. Let's have a look. And he now makes his pass through. Decides against it, so they're dragging it out here. Drivers already beginning the race. But Bruce Law remains on top. Tibby has now gone into second place, just shy of 6 tenths away from that pole position time of Bruce Law with 12 minutes remaining. It's a great lap from him. Looks as though he's got some improvement to be made in Sector 1 as well, so keep an eye out on it. He's actually gone around about half a second quicker, I think, previously in Sector 1, so Tibby may well be able to match the provisional pole position time of Bruce Law if he manages to keep this up. I did say that he was one to watch. He's certainly proving me right. Sub-Zero looks as though he's on for a lap time this time around. Maybe just caused an invalid lap at the end. You can cut quite a bit off that apex, but let's have a look as he crosses over the line. And it is a lap time. It's good enough for 8th position so far. So 132.964 from Sub-Zero, landing him mid-grid for now. And improvements being made by St. Bath. It looks as though he's finally starting to hook that R8 up. Maybe a little bit of tinkering inside the garage. We did see him inside the pits for a little while, but he's starting to get a grip of this Red Bull Ring circuit. And it looks as though he's encountering a little bit of traffic in the form of Dr. Potford at the moment. That can be a little bit tricky for him. Although at the moment, it looks as though Dr. Potford not slowing him down, maybe just giving him a little bit of a draft. So Bruce Law remains on provisional pole with St. Bath in second. Then we've got Tibby in third with Fast AF Gamer in 4th position. Luna Zodiac is in the pits at the moment, but he's been doing quite well. Finds himself in 5th as we see St. Bath there losing that back end. Couldn't catch it. And that's going to be an abandoned lap, and he may just well return to the pits. Nope, looks as though he's going to keep it out on track and keep the warm tyres whilst he can. Let's have a flick over to Lecky 2000 at the moment, been struggling a little bit in his Porsche since he did the shift. Not set a lap time yet, but I think he's not long left the pits. Casey Redwood still hasn't come out of the pits as well, and we're into the final 10 minutes of qualification. Now, I'm not showing up with any sector times for Lecky here, so it looks as though it is just his outlap, and his tyres also indicate that as well. So let's have a look as he progresses through the sectors. Meanwhile, Dr. Potford's gone purple in Sector 2, purple in Sector 3. Looks as though he's... and he's just gone purple in Sector 1 as well. So Dr. Potford looks as though he's about to find some fine form. Keep an eye out on the current 5th place. He may well make a jump up pretty soon if he can continue this sort of flow in the Ferrari. St. Bath, though, has just done a purple Sector 1 with a 21.743. So he's also looking pretty hot this lap. Like he's looking all right in his Sector 1. He's around about 8/10 off the leaders at the moment. Fast AF Gamer's just gone purple in Sector 2, so that's going to make it interesting. Let's have a look at what happens. In fact, Tibby as well has just gone purple in Sector 1. The sector boards are just lighting up at the moment as we've got a really weird bit of ghosting there. Ghosting is disabled, so I wonder whether or not that is a potential connection issue. Very odd indeed. So that's St. Bath that you can see currently with Lecky inside him, and it's not often that you find that on a Sunday evening. Usually reserved for midweek, I think. But not sure what's going on. It could well just be a connection glitch. As I mentioned, ghosting is turned off, but let's have a look at Lecky's time as he comes in 9th position, 3 seconds off the leader at the moment. So there is going to have to be some improvement there if he wants to get higher up into the pack with only 7 minutes and 52 seconds remaining. Doesn't look as though Dr. Potford ended up capitalising on those purple sectors, but Tibby is still looking pretty good. Gone purple in Sector 1, purple, and St. Bath went purple in Sector 2, but it hasn't been any improvement. He remains in 5th position as we see St. Bath returning to the pits. Casey Redwood still inside the pits, 7 minutes and 30 seconds remaining inside this qualification session. Immortalis and Giacomo yet to set a lap. Let's have a look at Immortalis. So it looks as though he's currently on an outlap at the moment, judging from his tyres. Let's have a look at Giacomo. That Ferrari looking absolutely battered, so obviously struggling a little bit. So we see him there having to correct himself as well. Looks as though his lights are on though, so he's finally decided that this is the time for a hot lap. Let's see what he can put in here. So St. Bath managing to go purple in Sector 3. Still remains in 2nd position though, but he's got that deficit down to 222 tenths, so it's getting, 222 thousandths. He's getting pretty damn close. Bruce Law, meanwhile, has gone green in Sector 2 and green in Sector 3, so he's making improvements as this goes on. It's just the first sector maybe, but it just shows you that that first lap that he had out, his first outlap, was an absolute monster. Good enough for provisional pole position all the way through this session time with only 6 minutes remaining. Nobody yet to beat it. So Giacomo's coming green in Sector 1. I think that's because previously there wasn't a sector set, but that is going to invalidate it, so maybe this is where he's struggling. Just not able to keep it inside the track limits, it seems. Let's see whether or not he can maybe slow down to keep this one valid. If not, he's likely to start this one right at the back of the grid, joining alongside Casey Redwood, unless Casey Redwood puts a lap in, as we see losing the rear end there after catching plenty of the curbs. And it looks as though Fast AF Gamer as well is right behind him. He might be able to pick up a bit of a tow though and benefit from this. The TTV crosses the line and it is a valid lap. It's good enough for 11th place now, so that puts him Immortalis down onto the bottom. It looks as though he abandons that one. Fast AF Gamer though, that last time around, only 39 thousandths of a second away from the provisional pole lap of Bruce Laurie, then returns to the pit stop to the pit lane as well. maybe to get some repairs done. I can imagine he's pushing that car pretty hard to try and get those times in. Looks as though Fast AF Gamer made it all up in the second sector. He's currently lapping around about 1 whole tenth quicker than Bruce Law in that second sector. So just improvements need to be made in the first and third. And he may be able to get hold of that pole position and the crucial bonus point. But Bruce Law needs all the points he can get if he's going to have a chance of winning this championship. So he will be hunting as hard as he can for that bonus point. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, welcome very much to the Flux Motorsport family. We do bring you these races week in, week out, and if you don't know the format just yet, we have 20 minutes of qualifying with accelerated tyre wear and performance impact and damage enabled. And a bonus point is granted for pole position, and then we've got 45 minutes of on-track action for you with 1 bonus point for the fastest lap of the race, and then 35 points granted for the winner. So St. Bath looks as though that last time around he managed to go purple in Sector 2. His Sector 3 let him down. Not by much, but just let him down. So St. Bath is also challenging pretty hard to try and knock Bruce off top spot, but he remains there still for 1 more lap. Let's have a look over to St. Bath. You can see him there just 6 tenths down, it seems. Maybe that was Bruce Law last time around. Looks as though Immortalis has got a lap in. Finally managed to hook one up. That's good enough for 7th place so far. So Tibby and Dr. Potford still looking pretty good in 4th and 5th. Luna Zodiac remains inside the pits, but doing well in 6th place. It looks as though All U82 is in 8th with All Right Turkish down below in 9th. So All Right Turkish actually putting in a good qualifying performance here. He's not too far away from Immortalis and All U82 either. So we may see some improvements in the remaining 2 minutes and 50 seconds of this session. Casey Redwood is finally out on track. Hopefully he's going to be able to set a lap before this session's done with. Just 2 minutes and 41 seconds remain in this. And by all means, let me know who your predictions are for the race and the upcoming championship. Let me know whereabouts you're watching it from in the world. I will be keeping an eye out on your comments as they come through on the stream. And St. Bath has done it by quite a margin as well. He sits there in provisional pole by over 0.3 of a second. So a great lap there from St. Bath last time around. And Bruce Law is going to be a little bit deflated, I think, from that one. He's got a mountain to climb. Looks as though St. Bath has now encountered some traffic. So he might just struggle to try and get an improvement on this one. Looks as though it's Luke 42 and All Right Turkish is R8. Of course, these drivers, unless they're out on an outlap, have no obligation to let him through. They're entitled to run their own race, but I do wonder whether or not a little bit of courtesy comes in as Luke 42 absolutely clatters the championship leader there, takes him out. So that's going to be a return to the pit lane. He may just be able to get out. We see him rushing out of the pits. He might just be able to get a lap in, but it looks unlikely. Yep, it looks as though he's not going to be able to do it and returns to the pits. So I think St. Bath there is going to have some choice words about Luke 42 on that one. Let's have a look at Bruce Law. That looks as though Bruce Law's got Immortalis for company. And let's get rid of the track and let's have a look at the speedo here. In fact, we'll leave the track on just so we can keep an eye out on the rest of the field. So bring up my timing boards. Let's have a look here. Bruce Law made an improvement in Sector 1 on this lap. Looks as though his Sector 2's just missing out a little bit. He runs a little bit deep as well. So I don't think this one's going to be able to knock St. Bath off top spot, but he has got one more bite of the cherry. In fact, he's decided that enough is enough. Returns to the pit lane, so he's going to miss out on the bonus point. Fast AF Gamer, though, is still out on track and may be able to do something with this. 22 seconds remain and he's only got 2 more corners to go, so it looks as though he might just have enough time for 1 more lap. Looks as though All U82 as well just ahead of him. Let's keep an eye out on that one. Casey Redwood has set a lap, but it's only good enough for 15th position at the moment. We see Luna Zodiac getting out there very late, maybe just for a little bit of practice. Fast AF Gamer has got one more bite of the cherry. We'll keep an eye out on this one, on his sector times as they come in. Does look as though all U82 actually made an improvement somewhere down the line. Immortalis has ended up swapping places with him. Still a little bit off the pace of Luna Zodiac as Luna Zodiac comes back into the pits. Looks as though most drivers now finishing their laps. Let's jump into the chase cam with Fast AF Gamer. I'll keep you posted on the timing screens. He has gone green in Sector 1, around about 3/10 off the pace of St. Bath though, so he's got quite a margin to go. As I mentioned earlier, that is all U82 that you see up ahead, and it looks as though he's made an improvement as well in Sector 2. He has indeed. So green in Sector 1, green in Sector 2. No purples yet, so it's going to have to be an absolute blinder in Sector 3. But let's see what a young South African driver can pull out of the bag here. Makes a little bit of a correction, and that might just invalidate it. Ends up having to jump onto the brakes, and that is an abandoned lap from him. Perhaps the driver ahead of all U82 just putting him off. So that concludes our qualification for today, and it looks as though a grid place penalty for St. Bath. Not sure what caused it, but that is going to give pole position to Bruce Law and give him that bonus point in the end. So Bruce Law ends up qualifying in top spot with St. Bath in second, Fast AF Gamer in third with Tibby in fourth, Dr. Potford in fifth. Alongside him is Luna Zodiac with Immortalis in the row behind, and all U82 in 8th position. Alright Turkish in 9th with Lecky in 10th, and then Sub-Zero in 11th with Old Smoky for company. Then we've got Giacomo in 13th with Luke Snipes, and then Casey Redwood makes it up at the back of the field with a 2-grid penalty just to add insult to injury there. So as we progress on to the race, looks as though we're going to have pretty clear skies. There does appear to be a little bit of cloud forecast for this race, but currently sunny skies here in Spielberg, Austria. Track temperatures looking pretty optimum really. And the drivers are going to have 1 minute and 40 seconds just to work on the setup of the cars. And then we'll be ready for lights out here in our final race of the season. And if you enjoy what we do here at Flux Motorsport, be sure to hit a subscribe button at the bottom of your stream. Make sure that you don't miss any of the action coming up. We will be bringing you special events through the off season. So keep an eye out on our social media channels as well for all of that to come. And of course, if you're watching this, eager to join in, head on over to www.fluxmotorsport.com and you'll find the link on the right hand side of your screen on how you can join our Discord server and get involved in all of the action in Season 2 here in 2020. 50 seconds remain in the Tinker Time, and then we'll be ready to get this race underway. 45 minutes of Red Bull Ring GP action coming up very shortly. Just approaching the end of the setup time now. Race strategies will be in place. These guys don't have to have any mandatory pit stops, but because the tyre wear is accelerated, we may see drivers coming in for a change of rubber. But the lights are on now. We're going to see good starts from the front row. We saw Bruce Law all getting very eager there into first gear and onto the clutch, and it looks as though Tibby's had an absolute stinker of a start. It looks as though he's got Dr. Potford making moves on him. Looks as though Fast AF Gamer is through as well. Everybody looks as though they're clear through the first corner. Immortalis has made up a place as well, as we see Turkish going way offline, but manages to get it hooked back in. Looks as though everybody in the rear of the field as well able to get through pretty cleanly. And we can see moves there being made by Old Smoky. Oh, as we see, Lecky absolutely murks Turkish, and Turkish comes back on and collides with a couple of other cars. Not too sure what happens, but I can see the Porsche 911 of Luke at the rear of that, so I wonder if there was a collision first. All we saw was Lecky's car come around and absolutely wipe out All Right Turkish. So that sees Lecky and Luke in 14th and 15th respectively, and All Right Turkish also down in 13th position. Bruce Law remains out in front with St. Bath in second, Fast AF Gamer in third with Tibby in fourth, and Immortalis has done very well to get himself up into 5th place, although it does look as though he's just lost position. In fact, Immortalis has fallen way down the grid. Is he off at the moment? Looks as though he's just coming back onto the track. He's now in 13th place with Lecky's company. So let's jump into the chase cam. Let's have a look at what's going on with the front runners. Currently on board with Tibby at the moment, so that is Bruce Law ahead with St. Bath in second place and Fast AF Gamer in third. Jump back into trackside. Let's have a look at that. Look at the gap that's already formed up between Tibby and Dr. Potford in 4th and 5th. We're going to see anybody pitting in through damage. Doesn't look as though we have just yet, as we see a driver going way off. I think that's Giacomo. Giacomo makes a big collision as well with another driver. So it's been a really messy race here in the opening 2 laps, and it looks as though it was Casey Redwood that Giacomo took out. And that's allowed All Right Turkish to make his moves up and Immortalis to try and make his recovery drive. Currently in 10th place, but he's making up points pretty quickly, as we see him do this week in, week out. Whenever he does have an off, he ends up working his way through the field with maximum efficiency. Bruce Law continues to lead, though. He's got 1 second lead to St. Bath at the moment. And Fast AF Gamer is 1.5 seconds behind, but Tibby is keeping up with him. 2.5 seconds off the leader at the moment. Have a look at this battle, as we see that looks as though it's Old Smoky's blue Ferrari just losing it there. We're currently tracking around Sub-Zero though in his Honda NSX, and that is All U82 and Lunar Zodiac ahead of them. Keeping in a train at the moment, keeping within that slipstream, and the battling pretty close. Let me bring up the sectors and let's have a look at this. So going toe-to-toe at the moment in the sector times. Fast AF Gamer, though, is just an absolute blinder. Currently set the fastest lap of the race with a 1:30.733. Remember, folks, that is beneficial. The fastest lap of the race will get a bonus point, and it's also going to allow Fast AF Gamer to soon get onto the back of St. Bath. Looks as though Casey Redwood, All Right Turkish, Luke and TTV Giacomo are now entering the pits. So the first pits coming in for the session, and it was drivers that all seem to make contact with one another. Let's jump into the chase cam at the moment and get a good look at this action, as we see who was that was spun around. Was it Tibby? It was Tibby's fallen all the way back into 10th position, losing it there. And losing a whole lot of positions as well. He was previously in 4th place. Just seemed to lose it, as we see Lunar Zodiac there losing it as well, making contact with All U82. So, I tell you what, folks, it's been a really clean season all round in the GT3s, but this last race just appears to be catching them out. There's contact all over the field. Not much of it deliberate, so it's not as though it's unclean, but racing incidents all over the place in the first 4.5 minutes here at the Red Bull Ring. Looks as though Casey Redwood is still inside the pits. All other 3 drivers are since out. Let's have a look at this battle between St. Bath and Fast AF Gamer. So jump into the chase cam of Fast AF. So these are our 3 race leaders that you currently got on your screen at the moment, and they're already encountering. That's Luke's Porsche 911. So they're already coming up on 12th position here. So Luke will be under blue flags. He's going to have to move across when these guys get in range, and it's going to cost him quite a bit in his recovery. fact, it looks as though it's going to be the exit of this corner where, as we see there, Luke moving alongside, allowing them to get through, but I think it's only going to allow Bruce Law and possibly St. Bath through. Doesn't look as though Fast AF Gamer is close enough in order to do it. I just managed to make it there. I think really conscientious driving from Luke in the end. Let's jump back into trackside. Certainly cost him a little bit of time, but he obviously didn't want to make an impact with this one, as we see St. Bath making a move around the outside on Bruce Law. Is he going to be able to stick it through on exit? He has got another left-hand corner, so Bruce continues to hold the inside line. The two drivers are definitely exchanging a bit of paint between the wing mirrors, and that's allowed Fast AF Gamer to make his move as well. Really exciting stuff here between the top three, and it looks as though Fast AF Gamer is potentially going to take second place. Is he going to hold it around the outside? I don't think he is. He's going to have to fall back into position. May just decide to make a move onto the final corner. Runs a little bit wide though. I think that is potentially going to be a slowdown penalty from Fast AF. And we can see Dr. Potford as well there, just about to encounter the back marker. I beg your pardon, I don't think it was Luke as a back marker. I think it's Casey Redwood. It is indeed Casey Redwood's lime green and yellow AMG that I got confused with Luke earlier on. So Immortalis is making good moves on my lap board. Currently sat in 6th. He has gone purple in Sector 3. So it looks as though his woes through qualification may well have just sorted themselves out. He finds himself 8.3 seconds away from the leaders, but he is losing time hand over fist as these three guys battle it out. Bruce Law is still winning in the charge. St. Bath in second and Fast AF Gamer remaining in third place. This will not be enough for Bruce Law to take the championship, but he will definitely be doing it for pride. So Bruce Law crowned our GT1 champion earlier on in the week, also crowned our Formula Renault champion earlier this morning, with Lecky hosting that one. Doesn't look as though he's going to be able to do the clean sweep of Flux Motorsport championships unless we see a dramatic position change to both St. Bath and Fast AF Gamer. St. Bath just having a look up the inside there. Bruce Law shutting that door as quick as he can, but may well be due for a bit of a time penalty. Not seeing it flash up red on the screen though, so it looks as though he's pretty safe. And it looks as though Lunar Zodiac is out of the race. Looks as though it's our first casualty of retirement for the session. So Lunar Zodiac out of it. So TTV Giacomo is in 14th place. Casey Redwood is in 13th. Looks as though he's managing to string lap times together. Last lap around he went green, so he is managing to make improvements. So is Immortalis. He's found himself now jumping from 6th to 5th position. Got Dr. Potford next on his list. But Dr. Potford around about 3.5 seconds ahead of him at the moment. Let's have a look at this bit of action that we've got going on just behind. Looks as though Old Smokey and Sub-Zero currently trading places. That is also Tibby that you see ahead. Two cars going side by side at the moment. You can see some tentative twitching from Sub-Zero, and it looks as though he's going to be able to get a cutback done up the inside, just narrowly missing out on that one. So Old Smokey continues to remain in 8th position at the moment. Looks as though Sub-Zero's carried a great bit of speed through that corner, not enough to take the position. You see the door shut him, but he is running a little bit deep on that one, loses a little bit of momentum, Old Smokey. So he's definitely leaving windows of opportunity for Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero's just coming up alongside, but not enough to be able to get the move done. And as Immortalis had a bit of an off, I wonder if he has. He lost a load of time there in his splits. I wonder if he just had a bit of a slowdown maybe coming out of the last corner. I just saw his split time to all U82 drop by about 2 or 3 seconds, which gave me that indication. Back up to the action in the front. It looks as though St. Bath has managed to take first position from Bruce Law, and Fast AF Gamer is also making headway up the inside as well, now coming around the outside. Definitely having a look over all positions here. You can tell that Fast AF Gamer is desperate to try and get around these guys, but much has been the case throughout this season. The three drivers really equal to each other's skill levels and really know each other pretty well through this one, as we see a bit of an overcorrection there from Fast AF Gamer. Almost loses it, ends up taking out some of the braking markers, but keeps himself pointing in the right direction. Now he's making a move up the inside of Bruce Law as we come up to the penultimate corner. Looks as though he's going to get this move done so long as he doesn't understeer. Pushes Bruce Law wide, and now he's going to have to take the slower line. Bruce Law does run a little bit wide onto that one, may suffer a slowdown, but doesn't look as though he has. He's now sat in the slipstream, but it's a pretty short track up to turn one here at the Red Bull Ring. 34 minutes remaining of this session, and Fast AF Gamer has a look up the inside. That is not a place that you can do it, but Bruce Law has a spin. I don't think there was any contact. I think he's just lost the front end and ended up with the rear coming around, so Dr. Popford takes third position. In fact, Bruce Law slips down into fourth place, now fifth, I think. And we can see Immortalis as well in sixth position, raining down upon him in the red car, just about to enter your screen. There he is. So that is the back marker of KC Redwood in between them at the moment, and he's going to have to move across pretty soon as Immortalis approaches him. Tibby has since put in a purple Sector 1, so Tibby is currently flying at the moment in 7th position. Let's see whether or not he can keep that going, and potentially we might have a new fastest lap of the race here. But St. Bath leads with 2 seconds ahead of Fast AF Gamer. Dr. Potford in 3rd position with 5 seconds back from the leader. And then it's a full 5 seconds all the way back to 4th position with all U82, and Bruce Law, after his spin, finds himself 12 seconds off the leader of St. Bath. St. Bath looking to secure the GT3 championship with this race, provided he finishes above Fast AF Gamer with, I think, 2 positions, depending on which position it is, so long as he's got a 2-position cushion. In fact, so long as he finishes above him, it'll be fine, but depending on whereabouts Bruce Law finishes, that could change things. But Fast AF Gamer needs a win, and he needs St. Bath, to be finishing in 3rd place, I think, if he's going to be able to pick this one up. He will also require the fastest lap. It was 6 points the difference between the two. Also, ladies and gents, normal rules apply for this, so if we do have a tie on points come the end of the championship, it will go down to race victories, which I actually think will go over to St. Bath in terms of the victories. I think Fast AF Gamer actually has claimed the most amount of qualification poles between him and St. Bath, but in terms of victories, I'm pretty sure it goes to the Dutchman. So let's have a look at the action a little bit further down the field. Looks as though Tibby's just made his move on Immortalis. I think Immortalis may have just had a bit of a wobble, as we see Luke there going way off. And looks as though Alright Turkish has come into the pits as well, potentially for a damage repair. I think that might have been his second for the race. I could be mistaken though. Not sure whether or not he pitted in the first group of drivers that got caught up in all of the action in laps 1 and 2 here. But Tibby is really making an impression in his first outing in the GT3s. Currently riding in 6th and looking pretty strong. Looks as though we've got a bit of action going on as well, which we have had through a lot of the race between Old Smoky and Sub-Zero. Old Smoky looks to have the upper hand so far, as he has done through most of this race. Old Smoky in the navy blue Ferrari and Sub-Zero in the Honda NSX, just having a little look up the inside. It's not going to get it done there. You definitely can't go as quick up the inside into turn 1 here at the Red Bull Ring. And Fast AF Gamer, apologise, we've missed that action. He's since taken the lead, and he's also got the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:30.420 that last time around. Let's have a look at the front end of St. Bath. Has St. Bath had an off? I think he has, but it doesn't look as though there's any damage there to that Audi R8. Maybe just had a little bit of a spin, and that's allowed Fast AF Gamer to take the lead here at the Red Bull Ring. Just needs Dr. Potford to try and maybe take that position from him. and he might just be able to secure his first championship here in Flux Motorsport. We'll have to wait and see though. Been performing really well in the BMW M6 all season long. In fact, all three of our drivers in the top end of the championship have been pretty much flawless, but you can see he's built up a huge gap there to St. Bath. 4.2 seconds currently, and it does look as though it's growing. So since he's got out of the way of the traffic, Fast AF Gamer is able to just throw the hammer down. Let's jump back to this action on track between Old Smoky and Sub-Zero. Looks as though Sub-Zero took it for an instant, and then Old Smoky's got it back. So it continues to ride on, and we can see Immortalis ahead of the two there. So it's looking to be a pretty fine battle between these two drivers. Sub-Zero's on the inside, but as I mentioned last time around, that is not the optimum line. Is he going to do it under braking? Looks as though he is, but an excellent move there from Old Smoky. Judged the line perfectly, had a lot of faith, and ended up just undercutting Sub-Zero by taking the optimum line. He's managed to make a big game from it as well. Fantastic driving from Old Smoky, and Sub-Zero has got his work cut out to take that place back. Two drivers fighting for 8th position here. Have a look down the field. Looks as though Alright Turkish has come out of the pits. He finds himself around about 19 seconds off the rear end of TTV Giacomo, according to my lap board, but it's actually looking more like 1 minute on the game one. So I beg your pardon, it looks as though my telemetry system's just a little bit slower to catch up. So Alright Turkish is going to have a pretty big hurdle to try and get off bottom spot with this one. I think he is going to launch a steward's inquiry, because we saw him get absolutely wiped out in that first lap. But Old Smoky since taking a place away from Immortalis as well. Immortalis struggling around this Red Bull Ring circuit, and Sub-Zero is now knocking on the door for his position. As we see him going around, looks as though contact was avoided, but Immortalis spins it and falls back into 9th position. He's going to have Lecky for company as well pretty soon, as we see Lecky now just coming around the final corner. So we'll keep an eye out for that battle as that progresses through. Fast AF Gamer though is our current leader. I think he's also our current fastest lap setter. Well, we've got a bit of a gap. Let's have a look, see if there's any penalties to be issued. Doesn't look as though there is at the moment. So, no, all drivers currently keeping it clean. But the fastest lap of the race is a 1 minute 30.420 from Fast AF. Looks as though Immortalis has done quite well in his timing boards, but not able to translate that into a race position, as we saw him just taking it around before the final corner on that last lap. So it looks as though the grid is pretty evenly spaced now. St. Bath is around about 4.5 seconds behind Fast AF Gamer, who's leading the race. Dr. Potford's doing really well in 3rd position, whereas Bruce Law has been able to maintain in 4th, but he finds himself 14 seconds away from Fast AF with 26 minutes remaining. So it looks as though that championship challenge is slipping away from our Cheshire driver. Looks as though he's going to have to settle for 2 championships here at Flux Motorsport in Season 1. I'm sure that'll do him, although I'm sure he'd have wanted the full trifecta. Looks as though the battle between Old Smoky and Sub-Zero continues once again, as we see Old Smoky pulling the same old moves. Doesn't look as though Sub-Zero is going to learn to take that outside line just yet. Loses the position once again to Old Smoky, and it looks as though he's lost a lot of momentum in the meantime. These two cars looking pretty well balanced between each other. Looks as though the Ferrari's got the legs on him, but looks as though the Honda NSX just able to carry its speed a little bit more efficiently through the corners when he does hook it up. We'll continue to monitor every other position on there, but it does look as though most drivers are now starting to conserve the tyres ever so slightly. I'm just looking at the sector times, and there's been no improvements at all, apart from Luke Snipes, who made an improvement in Sector 3 that last time around. So lap times now just starting to balance themselves out a little bit. Drivers starting to find the rhythm for the remaining 25 seconds of this session. Only two drivers within a noticeable gap within each other of around about a second and a half, 2 seconds. In fact, it looks as though Tibby is since coming up on the rear end of all U82. Let's have a look at how that gap's forming up. So we're now tracking all U82, and that is Tibby in the rear as well. So U82's actually had a really good season. Consistent, not able to get into the podiums, I don't believe. Just bringing up the standings now so I can review his stats through this one. But I think consistent drives throughout have paid dividends for him. He's looking pretty tight in the standings. Yeah, his best finish of the season has been a 4th place, but he's been inside the top 10 for every single race. Started off really strong at Silverstone with a 6th place, did really well at Zolder as well, just outside of the podium for that one. Also had a noticeable race at Laguna Seca in round 4 and did pretty well at Brno for round 6. And I think that consistency stood his standings pretty well. He's sat in 5th position in the championship standings, not able to challenge Wanter's 4th place, just not going to have enough points despite Wanter not being in the in this race. But a really good season from him. Definitely will look forward to season 2. Maybe see if he can get into those podiums. Maybe challenge on the tracks that suit him the best. But another driver to watch as well is Tibby. It looks as though Sub-Zero and Immortalis are going at it again. I'd like to switch over to that one as we see Sub-Zero. Commentator's curse. He ends up spinning it round on the second to last corner. That's allowed Immortalis to come on through. And Immortalis can now potentially challenge Old Smokey for that 7th position. Just needs to keep his car facing in the right direction, and he'll be able to maybe make a decent recovery in this one. Maybe challenge come the end of this race for 6th place if he can continue to hook laps up like he is. Let's jump back over though to all U82 and Tibby. Tibby managing to shorten that split time. We see the Merc happily running a little bit deep into the corner, able to get that torquey engine, putting the power down, provided he's got enough road to do so, as we see a whole bunch of traffic up front there. Is that Dr. Popford maybe encountering? Not too sure. Is this? So we're currently looking at Bruce Law. I think that's a back marker of maybe Giacomo. And I think that's All Right Turkish in the red and black Audi R8 as well. So did look as though there was some bobbing and weaving going on from the back markers. We may well see an investigation in that, unless my eyes deceive me. Perhaps it just looked a little bit worse in the background of the picture. Bruce Law remains in 4th place. I think he's just not able to rein in that gap that between himself and Dr. Popford. Dr. Popford is running really well, and we can see the lap times that last time around. Bruce Law suffering through the back markers, finds himself about 2 to 3 seconds off his regular race pace throughout this session. So with 21 minutes to go, he's got a pretty tall order to try and get on the podium here at the Red Bull Ring. Fast AF Gamer though is managing that 4.5 seconds lead that he had to St. Bath like an absolute champ. Just able to maintain those, and it looks as though he's just edging St. Bath in terms of the lap times. Have a look at the timing board, see if we've had any improvements on those fastest laps. So no, it is still held by Fast AF Gamer. Fast AF Gamer still looking to maintain that bonus point with a 130 point, I think it was 240 or maybe 420. We'd have to wait and see. Won't bring it up again and disrupt the screen, but a young South African doing really well here at the Red Bull Ring. I think as soon as he got past St. Bath and Bruce Law, he just took a couple of extra strides, and then he's just able to maintain it. 5.5 seconds now the lead to St. Bath. But Tibby is really struggling to outpace all U82. Has gone quicker that last lap around by almost 8 tenths. So as we see, is that TTV Giacomo again spun around? I think it might well have been. So we see Tibby now approaching the rear of all U82. These guys have been battling out for some time, and I think that might well have been Luke Snipes just pulled over. I think it was just allowing the front runners through. Now he is going to be battling for position by TTV Giacomo pretty shortly. As we see, there it is. See flashing of the lights there from Giacomo. I'm not sure why he's flashing his lights. They're currently racing for position. Looks as though making his way up the inside. I wonder if he was acknowledging. I think Luke Snipes might well have a little bit of damage here. Does look to be off the pace at the moment. So I wonder if he was giving him a flash just to let him know that he's currently running slow and to take the position cleanly. We'll have to wait and see whether or not Luke Snipes decides to dive into the pits. Looks as though he might well be sticking it out here, as we see both drivers getting very, very sideways. One of them choosing to reset, the other one not, and it looks as though Giacomo ends up maintaining that 12th position spot, but both drivers losing it on the second to last corner. Meanwhile, looks as though Tibby's been able to take that 5th position spot from all U82. Sorry that we've missed that bit of action. As we see, he just takes it straight back from him. All U82, he looked as, I saw a big puff of smoke, maybe locking up the wheels a little bit, but looked as though Tibby was going to run a little bit deep. It looks as though all U82 locks up the rears, maybe lost his traction, and then he ended up taking it back. Immortalis, meanwhile, has since come into the pits. So Immortalis is at risk from Lecky here. Let's keep an eye out on that. So that is Lecky coming around the final corner. Looks as though Lecky's going to take that 9th place position. I think potentially coming in for damage repairs there. Immortalis slips down to 10th. He should well be safe from Casey Redwood, I think. Back over to our leader in the meantime. Fast AF Gamer has now got 3.7 seconds lead to St. Bath. We can see St. Bath there in the background. So not much of a gap. He's lost out on a little bit of time somewhere down the line. But lap time's looking pretty competitive. Looks as though St. Bath edged it that last time around by just 38 thousandths, so not much in it at all. In fact, it was a little bit more than that. But yeah, we're talking hundredths of a second difference lap by lap by these two. So not much in it at all. Dr. Potford is still doing pretty well in 3rd place, but Bruce Law has got a little bit quicker. Looks as though he lost a few seconds pace. And Bruce Law has now got himself within a 4-second window for that podium spot. So we'll keep an eye out on that one as it goes across. In fact, making big gains just in those last couple of corners while I was mentioning it. Tibby's running really well in 5th place as well. He's still got the advantage over all U82. That advantage is currently sat at 1.6 seconds. So he's done really well. Another Dutchman as well in the 55 Ferrari. Quite a few in the race this evening. And what a pleasure it is to have so many international drivers racing along with each other with a mutual love of motorsport and sim racing. And if you want to join in on that action, it doesn't matter where in the world you are, head on over to fluxmotorsport.com and you can click on the link on the website to take you over to our Discord. We'll get you inducted with a quick couple of drives where we can just make sure that you fully understand our rules and regulations. Then you can get signed up for next season's championships, find yourself live on our YouTube streams and pit yourself against the best that we have to offer. See if you can reign supreme over an 8-race championship. Much like our current championship leaders in St. Bath and Fast AF Gamer. St. Bath is coming around. We can see Lecky there lost it luckily lost it in a pretty clean place away from the racing line. He allows the front runners to come on through, but St. Bath is really chiseling away at this lead of Fast AF Gamer. Fast AF Gamer, I wonder whether or not his tyres are just getting ready to go off. I'll have to wait and see whether or not he comes in. With 14 minutes remaining of the session, he's going to want to try and stick this one out as much as he can. I know that Fast AF Gamer had an absolute mare this morning in the Formula Renault Championship. Ended up leaving his radiator closed. Ended up having to do, I think it was 5 pit stops in the end as Fast AF Gamer loses it on the final corner. So St. Bath takes the lead here at the Red Bull Ring and puts himself one step closer to the GT3 Championship title. In just one corner, it's all change here at the Red Bull Ring. St. Bath is now leading by 6 seconds. Dr. Potford is 4 seconds back behind Fast AF Gamer. And interestingly as well, Bruce Law is now 7 seconds away from him, so keep an eye out through that one. As we see all U82 and Tibby still duking it out here. Looks as though Tibby's been able to... all U82 has been able to sneak up on that split ever so slightly. Currently bobbing in and out of the second range. Certainly looks a hell of a lot less. In fact, it is. It's currently around about half a second, I think, but it is chopping and changing through the braking zones between the Ferrari and the AMG. And look at the AMG just rain it down when he can finally get the power down up onto the run up into turn 4. No change though. Tibby still maintaining his 5th place position. As mentioned, he runs really well in high downforce cars. It looks as though he can also do pretty well in a mid downforce GT3. So certainly one to watch as we approach season 2. And he has definitely come in and made an instant impression amongst the community. Going to be fighting for podium positions in season 2. I'm pretty sure of it. See all U82 there just getting a little bit loose on exit of the penultimate corner through Rin, and it's just setting back ever so slightly. So all that hard work is slightly unraveling. Is he going to be able to make it up into Remus? Into the edge. Don't think he is. So it looks as though it's all down to the straights between the Ferrari and the AMG. So let's have a little run through the order. We've mentioned the top runners, but from where we're watching at the moment, we're currently tracking around Tibby as we saw him locking up. This is where we saw him lose and take back that position a couple of laps ago. Then we've got All U82 in 6th place, Old Smokey in 7th, who ended up getting the better of Sub-Zero in the end. Lecky in 9th, with Immortalis in 10th after a lengthy pit stop. Then Casey Redwood in 11th with Luke Snipes in 12th and Alright Turkish in 13th. Looks as though Giacomo's jacked it in. Obviously not able to run this one out. So with 11 minutes and 20 seconds remaining, we're down to 13 drivers here at the Red Bull Ring. Looks as though Fast AF Gamer remains over 7 seconds behind St. Bath. St. Bath just managed to keep himself within the window of Fast AF Gamer, and when we saw Fast AF Gamer lose it, this corner that these guys are currently running at, he just gained all of that time, swept up, and he's managing to maintain around about 7 seconds ahead of Fast AF in his fight for the championship. 10 minutes and 40 seconds remain of this race. And you've got to just expect that St. Bath has now got one hand on his trophy for the GT3 Championship. And you've got to say it's been pretty deserved, just bringing up his statistics now throughout the season. So it's been a 15% there or thereabouts win percentage throughout the season. Got himself on the podium through 85% of races, and pole position for 42% of races. He did miss a race as well, so that explains quite a lot. But it actually looks as though he has got the most amount of poles throughout the season. Bruce Law with the most amount of victories, 66% race victories from Bruce Law. But that dreaded it wasn't a disqualification, sorry, disconnection that he got, I think it might have been in round 2 or round 3, if memory serves me right. Just having a look now, it was round 2 in the end that Bruce Law got disconnected. That just saw him having to claw his way back into the championship standings. I mean, he started off at Silverstone with a victory, then followed up in round 3 and 4 with victories. Bruce Law finished in second in round 5, 6th place in round 6, but then went out to win around Imola last race. But it's still not enough. Unfortunately, both Barend and Fast AF Gamer have been maintaining pretty good positions, so the deficit just too high for Bruce Law to try and make back. And looks as though he's now getting into that sort of operating window of being able to challenge for a podium. Let's have a look at Dr. Potford at the moment. Dr. Potford has made his way past All Right Turkish. It looks as though Bruce Law has now just made his way through the back marker as well. Let's jump into the chase cam. So Bruce Law at the moment currently chasing down Dr. Potford in 3rd position for a podium finish here at Red Bull Ring. Finds himself around about 1.5 seconds off the pace. It's actually 1.75 seconds. Well, that can easily be made up in a corner in these GT3s. Looks as though Fast AF Gamer's fastest lap is still going to count, but he definitely needed the race victory in order to really build upon that one. Looks as though Tibby and All U82 continue to battle it out, but All U82 has the upper hand this time. He's managed to get past the Dutchman. Tibby slipping down into 6th position. These two have been going toe-to-toe throughout this race, really. Let's jump back over to our battle for 3rd position. So tracking around Dr. Potford in the yellow Ferrari. That's Lecky 2000 in his Porsche 911 that we can see ahead. So that is a back marker. He'll be moving out the way as soon as he can, as soon as it's safe to do so. The battle remains. Apologies for the silence here. Just preparing the championship standings just to see whereabouts these guys are going to be finishing up if they stick in their positions. But with 6 minutes remaining, looks as though Bruce Law is going to have to push pretty soon if he's going to be able to get past Dr. Potford. Looks as though he makes a little bit of a move up the inside. Gets close to it, but Dr. Potford able to get the power down and continue building upon that gap. So St. Bath continues to lead to Fast AF Gamer. Looks as though Fast AF Gamer is losing a little bit of time now. St. Bath absolutely romping this one home with over 5 minutes remaining. Then Dr. Potford in 3rd, Bruce Law in 4th. You're currently watching them on your screen, and then Tibby has made it past All U82 once again to claim 5th position. Let's have a look whether or not he's going to make this one stick. We'll keep our eye out though in 3rd and 4th position in that battle. So Tibby remains in 5th position, All-U82 in 6th, Old Smoky in 7th with Sub-Zero in 8th. Lecky continues in 9th place, and then Immortalis in 10th. I think we just saw Immortalis actually in the background of this. Currently hanging up on the back of All-U82, I think. We just see him absolutely lose it and heads wallwards on that one. Let's have a look. Yep, looks as though he may well have caught the wall. Luckily in the best place, he can always get himself back into the pits. Starting his donuts a little bit early there, Immortalis. Perhaps not carrying enough damage to warrant a pit stop. So we're going to see a move being made by Bruce Law in the final 4 minutes of this one. Aren't many places to do it. It's usually under braking, unless you can maybe get the drive out through the corner that we've just spotted, or coming out of the final 2 corners. No change here, lap 28, 3 minutes remaining, and the title is all but St. Bath's. 9 seconds the difference now between himself and Fast AF Gamer. Continuing to watch this battle for the final place on the podium. Dr. Potford maintaining it. He's had a great race. In fact, he's had great races since he's joined the championship, Dr. Potford. Really has made an impression in these GT3s. Runs wide though into that one. That's allowed Bruce Law to come on through and take it. I think the commentator's curse is rife this evening. Every single time I mention a driver and how well he's doing, he seems to either lose control or lose a position, but it's not lost yet. Looks as though he's got the drive up onto the inside. He's going to have to get very late on the brakes. Not able to make that one stick. So Bruce Law looks as though he's got that 3rd place pretty much wrapped up. So 2¼ minutes remaining in this final race of the season here at Flux Motorsport. Not just in the GT3s, but this will also conclude all of our championships in Season 1. I'm going to be bringing you some special event action. You need to watch this space in terms of our social media for all the details on that one. If you want to get yourselves involved, then make sure that you join up into the community with plenty of time to pass your evaluation drive. And then get that form submitted. Details will follow on all of our social media channels pretty soon about the special event. Don't want to give away too much, but it is going to be a real test of nerves and patience, that's for sure. And then in around about 4 weeks' time, we'll be getting the action underway into Season 2, so not too much of a gap. Give us a little bit of time to get some new recruits signed up, get you guys that are watching this at home and wishing that you were taking part involved in all of the action, and keep an eye out for any changes in our programming schedules. As mentioned, we will be bringing you updates throughout all of our social media channels, so be sure to follow us on both Facebook, Twitter or Instagram for all your goings on in the off season here at Flux. Oh, and after Dr. Potford has had an absolute smashing race, he ends up losing it on what is possibly the second to last lap here at the Red Bull Ring. Let's flick on over to our race leader. Yep, he's just crossed the finish line, so it looks as though this is going to be the final lap for St. Bath, and it is going to be a victory lap, 9.5 seconds lead to Fast AF Gamer. And what a season it's been for him. I've got to say, he's had some good luck in terms of Bruce Law getting kicked out of the second race, but it hasn't hasn't dissuaded him at all. His game face has been on all the way throughout the season. He's been challenging both Fast AF Gamer and Bruce Law in every single race he's taken part in, and he's definitely a deserved victor. So coming round the final two corners now, not long to go before St. Bath is crowned the GT3 Championship champion. Unless there are any penalties to mention, we see him hugging the pit wall, soaking in the applause from his pit crew, and that is the victory in both the race and the championship for St. Bath. Fantastic season from him. Fast AF Gamer comes across the line in second place. In fact, he comes across the line and really destroys the right-hand side of that BMW M6. Good season from him, and a flash of the lights from Bruce Law. Worthy mention. Would have been a much closer championship without that disconnection. Dr. Potford did really well in the yellow Ferrari. He comes across the line in fourth place. He had a minor slip-up right near the end, but really good running from him. And then Tibby ends up getting the better of All U82 to come and secure fifth place in the end. All U82 in sixth. Looks as though it's going to be some way back now to Old Smokey till he crosses the line. Old Smokey actually with his best finish of the season there in that seventh place. Did look to be pretty secure throughout the race. He was battling a lot with Sub-Zero, and we also saw him going toe-to-toe with a few other drivers, holding them off. Still, Lecky's done enough for 9th place. Immortalis in 10th. Casey Redwood in 11th. Luke inching it round in 12th. And that concludes our race for this evening in the Red Bull Ring. As already mentioned, St. Bath takes the championship victory along with the race victory, just bringing up the standings now. So in the end, it was 12 points difference between St. Bath and Matthew, aka Fast AF Gamer. Just having a look, let's make sure that I've put in that bonus point for the fastest lap of the race, which was secured by Fast AF in the end. In fact, I wasn't, so it was even closer than that between the two. Bonus point added for both Bruce Law and Fast AF. So in the end, Barrett, aka St. Bath, takes the victory by just 11 points ahead of Fast AF Gamer. Bruce Law finishes the championship in third position, and he finds himself just 22 points away from St. Bath. So what could have been will be on his mind after that disconnection. After that though, Dr. Potford, good running in fourth position. Tibby in fifth with All U82 in sixth. Old Smokey in 7th, Sub-Zero in 8th place with Lecky in 9th, Immortalis in 10th, and Casey Redwood and Luke Snipes in 11th and 12th. Alright, Turkish had to stop a couple of times. He finds himself in 13th, and then Luna Zodiac disqualified, it shows, so obviously had a bit of a mare in lap 2 of this race. And that concludes our GT3 Championship and our season here at Flux Motorsport. As I've already mentioned, if you want to get hold of the action coming up into Season 2, be sure to hit the subscribe button on YouTube and also follow us on all the social media accounts. And if you want to get involved in Season 2, then head on over to www.fluxmotorsport.com, hit the link there and get yourself signed up as soon as you can to make sure you don't miss out on any of the sign-up places going into Season 2. I've been your host for the evening and for the season. I'm Murphy GBR, and please do join us for all of the action ahead of Season 2. If it's been anything like it has in Season 1, you're definitely in for a treat. In the meantime, be sure to enjoy all of the real-world action and enjoy the rest of the racing as we continue through the year and towards the end of the seasons. And enjoy yourselves. We'll see you again very shortly, and hopefully with plenty more action and championships in Season 2. Take care of yourselves, enjoy the week ahead, and have a good evening.